Hi, hello everyone, friends, colleagues, great to be here. I wasn't here last year, so apologies for that, but perhaps I just come now and again. Anyway, this is going to be a good session here. I'm sure children and young persons too. I kind of feel really a little bit unqualified to be here, just because I think it's such a big task. You know, am I a good leader? Am I a good manager? Do I really care about my staff? Because I really hope they think I do, because I am absolutely passionate that I need to help them to fulfill what we want to achieve within our service. I've got two of my team here, so I could be really bold and say I could get them to put their hands up and you could go and ask them afterwards. But I kind of think, well, you know, why do I feel I can stand up here? I want to inspire. I want us to feel that we are going to tackle this problem within our workforce. My team know I kind of do this call to action, and I did it last about a young man who sadly committed suicide while he was on our waiting list. And I just thought, you know what? One person dying, that's too much. We can't have that price. What can we do to try and stop it occurring again? And I would say one therapist in my team burnt out is one therapist too much. You know, we've trained them, we've nurtured them, we supported them. We have lots of patients and clients to see. How can we do the work if we're not all well and looking after each other? So I want to really just have a passionate plea that self-care and care for our team is just like being a therapist. And I was thinking of, you know, like the assessment when you welcome people. Do we welcome our staff when they come into the room? Oh, hello, how are you? You know, that sort of thing. Are we making sure? I was listening to obviously what Nikki said. You know, do we know their names? Do we actually make sure if they say that actually they find it really difficult working in that location because they've got a back problem, do we listen? Do we actually change it? Or do we just say, oh yeah, I know, you know, I'll fix it later. But, you know, what is it that really matters? And I was just thinking, as a therapist myself, thinking around my team therapeutically, you know, how do we engage with our team? And one of the reasons why I also think I'm qualified is I've been in IAPT since 2008. I'm responsible for 2 large services with 160 staff. But I think the bit that really qualifies me is I have been bullied at work. I don't want that to happen to anyone else. And I thought it was really interesting. It was 2009, I was setting up the IAPT service in the East. We'd started the West Berkshire, and I was recruiting 55 jobs. And for 6 weeks, my diary was packed. And I don't think anybody would know who it was, but my line manager demanded to see me. And I said, before 8, after 6. Week later, I got this demanding text, you will be disciplined because you have failed to see me. And this had been going on for weeks. And I stood up to her. And I would say, you know, this is so important that we do that. And I had some mediation with HR because I was quite senior and she was quite senior. And they asked her what her leadership style was like, what her management style was like. I'm kind of telling you the story because I think this might be more important than my presentation. But, you know, I'll try and be quick. You better give me, you know, 2 minutes warning. And she talked about her leadership style. And I thought, oh, yeah, no. And then you could tell I was exhausted. She turned to me and said, and Judith, how do you receive her leadership style? So that is the question I would say to you. How do you deliver and how do you receive either your supervision, your line management, your therapy, your leadership, wherever you are, or whatever your role is within the team, if you're an admin manager, if you are a telephone support worker, whatever it is, you know, how are you received? You know, how bold are we and brave to ask our team, how do you receive my management style? How many of you have had 360-degree, you know, review? It's a bit like, isn't it, asking patients for feedback. So I'm really thinking here, if we could just think about modelling what we do within an IAPT service with our team, I think that's part of the way there. So when I was asked, how do you receive her management style? Well, I decided nothing to lose. I'd got my resignation already in my diary. I'm now paperless, but wasn't at that time. And I said, bullying, autocratic, dominating, unkind, uncompassionate. And I went for it. And do you know what? She is now not a bully, and I'm more senior than her. And I actually would say, come on, we can do this. We can help to empower our IAPT teams. So now I'm going to go to my presentation, which is a little bit flashy, so it might not work because I'm not really, although James gave me a bit of a warm-up. So really, this is going to be interesting to see if it works. They said to me up there, I'll look up there and they'll help me. Perhaps I'll just go to this. Okay, that's me. Okay, so who looks after our therapists? And I kind of thinking, just reflect on how you receive your leadership, your management style, how you within your team, and how brave can you be? Because how are we going to look after the team? And it's only us to do it, so we've all got to work hard to think about doing it. So I'm just going to go over a little bit about what we've been doing in Berkshire. And I was really concerned when I read at the Savoy Partnership meeting how many people were saying they were stressed in therapy. It seems very well documented. In some areas, it's over 40%, up to 50%. And these are the reasons: stressed, overworked, inadequately supervised, emphasis on targets, poor environment, bullying, undermining. And I think the targets is an interesting one. I tried to do a whole presentation to my team without talking about targets or the word rates, and it's really, really hard. But that's another thing I'd like to be passionate about. Let's think about people. You know, can we think about the number of people we want to help to recover and get back to full functioning lives? You know, if I had my way, I'd get rid of the word target, because I think that in itself puts pressure. Whereas you start to think about people, how many people do you want to help? Because actually, as a therapist, I'm not asking any of my team to do anything less or more than what I do as a therapist or what I've done as a therapist. I think it's all about how you care for them compassionately as people. Right, let's make sure this can work again. Okay, so I thought this was really interesting, looking at Maslow's triangle and looking at, you know, where are your team? Are they in survival down at the bottom? Are they in security mode? And I found this quite a questioning. Security mode was not engaged. I'm interested in overtime. I have more sick days than I should. I have poor working conditions. I don't like my manager. I don't like my job much. I look at job ads and I was thinking, oh, would that be worry if we've got people who are just looking at security? So coming up to wanting them to be engaged, and this is just like our clients. I think if we can think about our teams as we think about being therapeutic with our clients, you know, up to belonging, almost engaged. I want my team to be important. I want them to know I value them. I want them to be vital. How can I possibly achieve seeing 20,000 people with long-term conditions across Berkshire without everyone helping me? So that, I thought, was a really good example. I assume we're giving out the slides afterwards. So one of the things that I really value, and that's something that I have started within IAPT ever since the beginning, door open, being transparent. We have a Talk About Us email where people can confidentially send any question and we will answer it confidentially. We don't know who sent it. Trying to develop a no-blame culture. We share compliments. One of my team writes to every single therapist who has a compliment. And that just helps, I think, to all those wheels of us feeling we're working together as a team. And then listening in action. I don't know if you know of it, but it's an NHS model of how you try to get people from the bottom up to be involved in the service. I can talk to anybody if you want to afterwards. So what are we doing in 2014, 15, 16? We're making sure we welcome new staff. We set up our own team induction. We have team building events. We have protected time, motivational speakers, and we make sure within our trust there's training and development opportunities, and we avail those to everyone. We also have developed PWP leads, and we really try to include them in our leadership programs in the Trust. And then this was something that we developed, and I would challenge you or inspire you to think about, have you got a team charter for how you want to behave? And we had some bullying within the team, and that really saddened me. And I thought, we've just got to do something differently. So everybody worked on a team charter. Now, when someone joins us, we ask them to sign it, or we're willing to model it, to change it if they think it's not fit for purpose. And we are just in the process of reviewing it, because we've just appointed within our team a wellbeing and inclusion champion, and that's about making sure BME needs within our staff are met, and that actually we're thinking about how we can really empower them. I was really interested, I don't think Chris May is in this room, but I was really interested to bump into Chris, and he said he had a total flat structure, had got rid of all management, and had self-managed teams. And I was thinking, wow, so that might be my next thing. I'm not quite sure how I can do it within the banding, but I just thought that was fantastic. So it's about stating who we are, what we believe in, to act professionally within the work environment. You'll get these slides so you can see valuing each person individually. Tolerate faults and mistakes and making sure that we learn from them, and not tolerating bullying under any circumstances. So we've got a zero bullying policy. This is a challenge. Have fun in work. Encourage people to have little clubs. We have a fat club on a Friday, and we eat lots of cakes. I'm not sure it's good. We have a book club and things like that. But coming back to cakes, I think I'm a feeder. Somebody just said, oh, you're a feeder, Judith. When I first started, one of my friends, I'd been running a managed counselling service. I'm a nurse therapist by background. And one of my friends said, oh, 9 staff? Oh, you'll do that. That'd be a doddle. Well, I can tell you I've never stressed myself so much and worked so hard. And, one of the things I used to do when we moved to a new base and we got no IT, I thought, what will I do? Buy them cakes, bring in cakes. And so coffee and cakes is probably my signature. When I actually decide it's time to retire, I think I'll probably get given coffee and cakes. But I think, everybody should feel safe coming to work. Everybody should want to get to work. And I love my job. I love getting up in the morning. It's changed from being the therapist so much, but I want to be there to be the best, to make sure the team can be enabled and facilitated to do the tough work that they need to do. And just about value and having a good physical environment, because I thought that was interesting. One of the stresses was having poor environment. And I think this is really important. Expect equal opportunity. So trying to have no favoritism, no fairness. We now make sure that we've got junior staff on every interview panel. We have BME represented. We try to help people select new people in the admin team, for instance. We're just going through some recruitment at the moment. And don't think for 1 minute that I've got it right. I'm sadly pretty sure there's 1 or 2 people in my team who would say they're feeling stressed, they're not feeling supported. So I would say, look, just don't ever stop at this. This is 24/7 almost. This is like the PDSA cycle. You've just got to keep learning, you've just got to keep doing it. So this year we applied for the APS accreditation. Oh, that was quite a lot of standards. And suddenly it made me really, again, challenge, what are we doing to look after our team? And that also happened because in 2015-16, we had 21 PWPs leave. 10 to go into high training, 11 to do graduate psychology training. And we were, I was going to say desiccated, but I think I meant decimated, but we were really, really stuck. And that meant we kind of took focus off our team, and we all felt a strain, so we just had to bring it back. So we came up with a plan, obviously PDSA. Bring it into your therapy, bring it into how you manage your team. We did a survey monkey asking the PWPs and the team what they would like, and then we actually had a listening and action where we really listened to what they actually wanted. So again, that comes back to Nikki's therapy, listening, If you just listen to your team, find time, keep that door open. And so we are on a process now of implementing and embedding changes. And then obviously we've just reviewed them, and there's even more to do. I think it's a bit like helping somebody in a therapeutic journey in their life. You get them to a place, and actually there's a new place to get to. And I think that's what it feels like when you're building a team and staff who really actually know how much you value them. So come back to the belonging. And in the belonging, in listening and action, they said, and then we did. So they said they needed more support with clinical presentations and decision making. So we've put in additional drop-in supervision for our step 2 with our step 3, more CPD training, and linking our clinical skills and training mornings, and trying to make sure that they are actually feeling supported with more time and opportunity. And it doesn't sound much, but we've given them 30 minutes protected time a week where they can actually have reflective space. And we have now started, our Christmas present to the team was one of these books. So we've introduced self-care and self-reflective practice. That's the time, is it? I didn't hear it earlier. Yeah. And so now every new joiner to our team will have one of these books. And we have a monthly session in teams across the whole of our PWP counselling and CBT, where we have like a Reading-focused group looking at self-importance. You won't be surprised what they wanted was more in communication, and they wanted more support with pressure in the role. So we've developed a buddying system, we've developed individual team goals, and we are part of a network where we're learning from other staff. We have our own locality health and wellbeing newsletters, and these are really just in the process of getting off the ground. But trying to let them think it's important. One of the things we picked up was communication between the university and the service was poor. We were asking something different, so looking at how we can do that better. Buddy systems, so everybody in our service who joins has now got a buddy system, because we found they really got lost when they started, and we ended up with some unhelpful WhatsApp groups, all sharing, because we obviously lost 21 people, so we had 21 trainee PWPs all sharing, and that in itself was creating some negative vibes. So actually developing a buddy system. I haven't got time, but I was just going to bring your therapeutic practice to mind. I'm sure some of you might have relaxed breathing up your sleeve or mindful practice. And I would just say, don't forget, let's self-care, let's think about that ourselves. Can you find a minute to just do some mindful breathing and think through? I could just say, take a deep breath and let go. But I don't think we've got time to go into that. One thing we have developed is a little thing to give out to all our clients on 12 ways of coping with work stress. Is it interesting? You do something for your client group. What about your staff group? And I was so chuffed. This we developed in about 2009, 2010, when my commissioner left, and on his retirement speech, out of his pocket, he got this thing and said, this is what I try to do at work and try to inspire people to do it. So it's just 12 ways of coping with work stress that's developed by one of our psychology colleagues. It's not going to do it. It's that's working. Perhaps it isn't going to do it. Perhaps the timer has just cut me out. Magic powers. Okay. And there's the happy team. Keep striving. I'd like to encourage you. Don't think about the productivity. Think about, are they happy? Have they come here to work, but to have a good experience? And are we compassionate leaders? Are we compassionate to each other? Do we greet each other in the morning? Do we try our best to actually remember who everybody is and value every single person in our team? Because together we have to work hard to achieve more. Thank you.